Hello, Ivan here with Isla Vancouver Wealth Management. A while ago, I made a video about the Registered Education Savings Plan, the RESP, explaining all the advantages and benefits for those in Canada wanting to save for a post-secondary education. If you haven't watched it, I invite you to do that. Today, I want to share a real-life example, a success story of the use of an RESP to build an education nest egg. I'll show you a real example of a family that for just about 18 years has very consistently worked away in saving for a post-secondary education. The whole family was involved in this mission. Here's a bit of their story. So this RESP account is currently worth just over $135,000. As you very well know, education is expensive. University or college costs a lot of money, especially if the children are going away. So this family, over 18 years, they managed to save this amount. It's divided in 3 different funds, and there is a reason for this. It was a mental math that they decided on. This fund here, the dividend income fund, is what the children themselves saved. When they were little, they were working delivering papers in the neighborhood with the help of their mom, and this is what the parents contributed. This Global Select Fund, and all the grants money. As you remember, there's the regular grant, the Canada Savings Education Grant, then there's a Canada Learning Bond, and then there's a provincial grant. So all those grants would go into this Global Yield Fund. And broken down a little more, all the contributions ever done to this account were add up to $75,981. This includes what the parents put in and what the children put in by working. I should mention too that after delivering papers for several years, these children, became teenagers, and they got jobs in fast food and, typical adolescent jobs, and they were able to contribute almost the entirety of their earnings for the couple of years that they worked in those jobs to their RESP. So that, as you can see back here, the largest fund contribution was actually made by the children working. As it happens, the fund that were the contributions of the parents grew more. But, that's just the way it worked out. So the children contributed over $40,000, which is amazing to think about. And they can be very proud of that. So going back here, the regular grant, the Canada Savings Education Grant, amounted to, it's normally 20%. In this case, they received a little more because depending on what the income of their family is at a given time, they may receive a larger amount of grants. So in this case, $16,200 and change. There were a couple of lean years for this family, and during those lean years, their income was low enough so that they qualified for the Canada Learning Bond. This Canada Learning Bond, families would receive even if they don't contribute anything. Anyone who qualifies will receive it even if they themselves don't contribute anything. This is important. If a family has low income and they think they can't open an RESP, well, wrong, they can and they should. And then, in this case, provincial grant for each one of the 3 children, they all got $1,200. And again, this grant is not conditioned to what they contribute. Even if they contribute 0, they would still receive this as they qualify. So these two grants here, you would get from the government even without contributing anything. This grant here, you would receive if you contribute. So anyway, 75,000, almost 76, plus another 16,000, plus 1,900 plus 3,600. That amounts to almost $98,000 in RESP. Now, if you go back here, that 97,000 and change dollars grew to 135,751 as of today. That amounts to 59,770. So almost $60,000 between grants and growth. That would be enough, depending on which school they go to, but that would be enough to fund at least a couple of years in private university, or even the whole 4-year degree in a public local one. It's just something very powerful to think about. And finally, I want to show you this broken down for the oldest of the children who is just about ready to go to college. The contributions assigned to this child, 27,592, and then this child got 5,941 and change in regular grants. The Canada Learning Bond, $700, and the provincial grant, $1,200, for a total of $35,434. This right here is more than enough for 1 year at private university away from home, or even for a whole degree at a public university locally. Or any other program. Could be a trade school, could be any post-secondary education. I would like to remind you as well that in a family RESP such as this one, even though there are amounts assigned to each beneficiary child, they don't necessarily have to be limited by those assignments. One of the children could use more of the funds. One of the children could use less of the funds. And also, as will be the case here, more contributions will be made, basically by the younger children who are now working, while the oldest is already in college and making use of these funds. So there it is, a success story, and I love to see these kinds of stories. It's rare that I get to see one from the beginning to the end, and this is one of them. So there you have it, and talk to you soon.